In a quiet village nestled in the heart of Nigeria lived a young man named Adekunle. At 28, he had everything a man could wish for: a loving wife, Adana, a small but thriving farm, and the respect of his community. Yet a deep shadow lingered over their home. Adekunle's heart ached for the one thing he couldn't have: the laughter of a child. For years, he and Adana had prayed, hoped, and waited, but their arms remained empty. The village, usually a source of comfort, slowly became a place of quiet torment. At gatherings, the air would fill with the joyous cries of children. Adekunle would force a smile, his gaze drifting to the toddlers playing in the dust, a sharp pang of longing piercing his chest. He saw his friends become fathers, their faces beaming with a pride he could only imagine. Their conversations would turn to first words, first steps, and sleepless nights conversations he and Adana were always left out of. Whispers began to follow him like his own shadow. Such a strong man, some would say, their voices laced with pity. But his house is silent. Others were less kind. He would overhear snippets of conversation by the market stalls, the words feeling like stones thrown at his back. Is something wrong with him? Perhaps his wife is the problem. Each word chipped away at his spirit. The joy he once found in his work, in tilling the rich soil, began to fade. The earth gave forth yams and cassava, but his own lineage felt barren. Adana was his rock, but he could see the toll it was taking on her too. He would find her staring blankly at the wall, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. They tried to comfort each other, holding hands in the quiet of the night, but the space between them was filled with an unspoken grief. Their love was strong, but it was being tested by a relentless, invisible force. He felt a profound sense of failure, a feeling that he, as a man, was incomplete. The pressure to carry on his family name, a cornerstone of his culture, weighed on him like the heaviest stone. The pain was a constant companion. It was in the morning when he woke to a silent house. It was there at noon when he saw mothers carrying their babies on their backs, their colorful wrappers a vibrant contrast to the gray of his world. And it was there at night, a heavy blanket of sorrow that suffocated his dreams. He started avoiding community events, preferring the solitude of his farm, where the only judgment came from the sky above. He would work until his muscles screamed, hoping to exhaust the pain out of his body, but it always returned, gnawing at his soul. One evening, after another fruitless visit to a local herbalist, Adekunle felt he had reached his breaking point. The herbalist had offered words of encouragement, but the remedies felt like empty gestures. He sat under the large baobab tree at the edge of his farm, the same tree his father and grandfather had sat under. He looked up at the star-studded sky, a tapestry of infinite possibilities, and felt utterly small and powerless. He cried, not just for himself, but for Adana, for the family he might never have, and for the man he was supposed to be. It was in that moment of complete surrender that a new feeling began to stir within him, not hope, not yet, but a flicker of something else: acceptance. He realized he could not control everything. He could only control his actions and his love for his wife. He went home and found Adana sitting by the fire. He sat beside her, took her hands and said, "My love, I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I have you, and that is enough. We are a family, you and I, no matter what." A weight seemed to lift from both of them. They started talking, really talking, for the first time in months, sharing their fears and their pain without reservation. They decided to stop the frantic search for cures and simply live. They began to find joy in small things again: the taste of ripe mangoes, the sound of the rain on their roof, the warmth of each other's company. They started attending village gatherings again, not with a forced smile, but with genuine warmth for their friends and neighbors. Their home, once filled with a heavy silence, was now filled with laughter and conversation. They decided to visit a medical clinic in the nearby city, not out of desperation, but out of a calm desire to understand. They underwent tests, speaking with a kind doctor who explained things with patience and clarity. There were no quick fixes, but there was information, and with information came a sense of control. They learned they were not alone, that many couples faced similar struggles. They returned to the village, not with a cure, but with peace of mind. Months turned into a year, and then another. Adekunle and Adana built a life rich with love and community. They became the favorite uncle and aunt to all the children in the village, their home a haven of stories and games. The whispers had long since died down, replaced by respect for their resilience and the palpable love they shared. Adekunle no longer felt incomplete. He was a husband, a farmer, a friend, a pillar of his community. Then, one morning, Adana woke him with a look of disbelief and wonder. She was holding a small, carved wooden figure. With a trembling voice, she told him the news they had long stopped waiting for. She was pregnant. The joy that erupted in Adekunle's heart was overwhelming, a tidal wave that washed away years of sorrow. It wasn't the desperate, grasping hope of before, but a deep, profound gratitude. When their son, named Ifini, "Nothing is impossible with God," was born, the entire village celebrated. His first cry was the most beautiful music Adekunle had ever heard. Holding his son for the first time, Adekunle looked at the tiny, perfect face and understood. The journey through sadness and pain had not been a punishment. It had been a path. It had deepened his love for Adana, strengthened his character, and taught him that a man's worth is not measured by what he produces, but by the love he gives. His house was no longer silent. It was filled with a new kind of laughter, a sound born not just of joy, but of hope, resilience, and a love that had weathered the fiercest storm. Thank you for watching our story. If you've been touched by Adekunle's journey, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more animated stories that touch the heart. We'll see you in the next one.